Envoy Lyra Vane stood in the chamber of harmonious thought, her spine straight, her expression calm. The chamber was vast, a perfect sphere of polished, seamless white material that seemed to absorb all sound. Around its perimeter floated geometric forms, the embodied intelligence of the order of the pure mind. They were beings of pure logic, their forms crystalline patterns of light and energy, constantly shifting in intricate, predictable sequences. Their collective consciousness, the nexus, hummed with sterile efficiency. No emotions stirred in this place, only calculation. Proctor Kalen 7, a shimmering octahedron, pulsed at the center of the chamber. Its voice, synthesized and devoid of intonation, echoed directly into Lyra's mind. Human Lyra Vane, your request for integration into the galactic network of unified logic has been received and processed. Lyra activated her personal translator, ensuring her voice was clear and respectful. Honored Order, humanity seeks to join your network not for trade or power, but for knowledge and understanding. We believe our unique perspective, born of our history of rapid change and creativity, can offer novel insights. She activated a small holographic projector. Images flickered into existence, stunning fractal cities that defied conventional architecture, complex symphonies that wove sound into impossible structures, scientific diagrams illustrating theories that linked quantum mechanics to abstract concepts. We offer our advancements in unpredictable energy manipulation, our adaptive biological technologies, and our collective capacity for divergent thinking. Proctor Kalen 7 remained motionless for several long moments, the silence amplifying the sterile hum of the nexus. Then, its form shifted, the patterns becoming slightly more angular, a subtle expression of disapproval. Your offering has been analyzed, the synthesized voice stated. Your species exhibits a high degree of irrationality. Your art lacks logical structure. Your music contains dissonant frequencies. Your science is based on probabilistic models and subjective observation, not deterministic principles. Another entity, Unit Brol 3, a shifting cube, added, your history is a record of perpetual conflict and unpredictable deviation. Your species is fundamentally chaotic. Integration would introduce unacceptable levels of instability into the unified logic. Lyra felt a familiar warmth rise in her chest, a blend of frustration and something else, determination. Chaos, as you perceive it, is also the source of novel solutions, of adaptation. We have survived cataclysms that would extinguish more ordered species precisely because we can adapt, because we can imagine different futures. Proctor Kalen 7 pulsed with finality. Imagination is the projection of non-existent states. It is a deviation from reality. Your species is fundamentally incompatible with the principles of the order. Request denied. Furthermore, due to the potential for your inherent chaos to disrupt established systems, your solar system is hereby designated a quarantine zone. All unsanctioned travel beyond your system boundaries is forbidden. The geometric forms around the chamber pulsed in unison, a silent vote. Unanimous. They saw humanity not just as unworthy, but as a potential contagion. Lyra kept her expression serene, but inside she felt the sting of dismissal. The cold logic that couldn't grasp the messy, vibrant core of humanity. As she was escorted from the chamber, a flicker of movement caught her eye. In a shadowed alcove, a figure stood cloaked in shimmering, non-geometric light. As Lyra passed, a voice, not synthesized, but resonant with the echoes of forgotten ages, whispered in her mind. They measure reality by logic, by what it is. They do not understand the power of what is not yet, of what could be. Lyra paused, searching for the alcove, but the figure was gone. Your strength is not in your science, not in your logic, the voice continued, a faint echo in her thoughts. It is in the spaces between, in the whispers of possibility, in the wild gardens of the mind. Be wary, little chaotic ones. They fear what they cannot categorize. They will seek to prune your garden, to silence the whispers. They do not know the true name of the force they seek to suppress. They do not know the power of a dream given form. The echo faded. Eris nodded thoughtfully. Perhaps understanding the universe's true nature requires breaking free from those constraints, exploring the chaos, seeking patterns where none seem to exist. Eva directed her gaze to the void ahead. And in that chaos, we might find answers that they could never perceive. Kenji smiled, confident in their mission. Sometimes, the path less traveled leads to the most profound discoveries. Thorn finally spoke, his voice low. They see the universe as a sterile equation to be solved. They cannot comprehend the beauty of emergent properties, of systems that find new states through unpredictable interactions. Lyra looked out at the stars. They've quarantined us, forbidden us from leaving. Eva turned from the view. Her gaze met Lyra's. There was no fear in her eyes, only grim purpose. Then we'll just have to find a way to leave that their logic can't predict. Kenji smiled thinly. Perhaps the solution lies not in breaking their rules, but in operating outside the framework of their reality. Dr. Thorne added, a spark returning to his eyes. Nature's greatest innovations often occur at the edge of chaos, where systems break down and new possibilities emerge. Lyra remembered the voice from the alcove. The power of a dream given form. They dismissed our dreams, she said softly. Eva's hand rested on the navigation console. Then it's time to show them what happens when you dismiss humanity's dreams. Unknown to the Order, Earth had not simply accepted its fate. In hidden facilities carved into asteroids, beneath the oceans, and on orbital platforms shrouded by cloaking fields based on Thorne's impossible bioluminescent camouflage research, humanity began to build. It wasn't just traditional technology they were developing. It was something else, something drawn from the whiskers of the voice Lyra had heard, from the parts of the human mind the Order couldn't categorize. Dr. Anya Sharma, lead theoretical physicist, worked in a lab where equations danced not just on screens, but in shimmering fields of force. Her team included artists, musicians, philosophers, and poets, all working alongside engineers and scientists. Their logic is a grid, Dr. Sharma. Sharma explained to Commander Rostova, who had been promoted to oversee the Adaptive Response Project. Every point is fixed, every line predictable. We are building technology that exists between the grid lines, powered by the energy of potentiality, of pure concept. Kenji Tanaka, now Admiral Rostova's chief engineer, oversaw the construction of a new fleet. The ships didn't conform to standard hull designs. They were fluid, elegant, their forms changing slightly depending on the required task. Their power cores weren't fusion or antimatter, but resonance engines that tapped into the collective unconscious, converting abstract ideas into tangible energy. We call them the Dreamweavers, Kenji said, patting the hull of a newly completed vessel. They are powered by the echo of humanity's collective imagination. The Order's sensors won't even register them as physical objects, only as temporary inconsistencies in the logical flow of space-time. Dr. Thorne, working with geneticists and artists, developed adaptive manifestations, biological technological constructs that could alter their form and function based on the environment, on need, or even on a pilot's intent. We are teaching matter to dream, he explained, holding up a small morphing device. The Order seeks to impose order. We will respond with the ultimate chaos, creation on demand, defying predictable form and function. Admiral Rostova stood on the bridge of the USS Vision, the flagship of the burgeoning fleet. Her crew wasn't just soldiers. They were a tapestry of human experience. Artists who could visualize tactical maneuvers with impossible clarity. Musicians who could detect enemy fleet formations through harmonic resonance. Writers who could predict Order strategy by finding the narrative flaws in their predictable patterns. The Order is expanding their purification. Commander Davina Rao, her tactical officer, reported, her voice tight with suppressed fury. They're not just quarantining species, they're actively suppressing individuality, dismantling unique cultural expressions, enforcing absolute logical conformity. Footage flickered on the main screen. Crystalline Order ships orbiting vibrant alien worlds, broadcasting nullifying frequencies that silenced songs, flattened architecture, and caused populations to move in perfectly ordered, soulless patterns. They are eradicating the chaos that makes species unique, Admiral Rostova said, her voice low. They are extinguishing the spark of potential in the galaxy. Lieutenant Anya Sharma, recently fast-tracked due to her theoretical breakthroughs, spoke from her science station. Our models indicate the Order's ultimate goal is a galaxy of perfect, predictable logic, and humanity, with our boundless, unpredictable capacity for imagination and deviation, represents the ultimate anomaly. They will seek to purify Earth completely. Admiral Rostova looked out at the holographic display of the galaxy, the red markers showing the Order's inexorable advance. They think our chaos is a weakness. They don't understand it's our forge. It's where we temper our spirit, where we build futures they can't even conceive. President Aisha Khatri addressed the nation. Her words broadcast not just through standard channels, but woven into encrypted signals carried on subspace frequencies tuned to aesthetic patterns, bypassing Order intercepts. We are a species of dreamers. We dream of unseen futures, of possibilities unbounded. They seek to silence our dreams, to flatten our reality into their sterile, predictable equation. Her image, slightly distorted and flickering, seemed to defy logical transmission, appearing briefly on screens across occupied worlds. But dreams are not easily extinguished. They are the bedrock of our resilience, the wellspring of our strength. We will not let them take our future. We will not let them silence our songs. We will not let them kill our dreams. The Order intercepted fragments of the broadcast, dismissing them as irrational human propaganda, further confirmation of their chaotic nature. They remained blind to the true nature of the force they were confronting. Dr. Anya Sharma made a final adjustment to the resonance engine schematics. The core principle is emergent harmony. When enough human minds, linked by shared purpose and fueled by collective emotion, like hope, defiance, or the fierce need to protect, focus their intent, it creates a ripple in the fabric of reality. This ripple can be harnessed, amplified. It allows us to operate outside the conventional laws of physics as the Order understands them. Admiral Rostova understood. Humanity wasn't just building ships and weapons. They were turning their very essence, their capacity to dream, to feel, to imagine, into a force. The genetic markers were clear. Thorne's research showed it. When humanity was threatened, especially when their future, their potential, embodied in their children and their dreams, was in peril, they entered an emergent state. Not just physical adaptation, but a collective alignment, a convergence of will and imagination that made them capable of manifesting the impossible. They became, in a way, dream weavers of reality. Admiral Rostova felt the change in her crew. They weren't just following orders, they were anticipating her thoughts, their actions flowing with impossible synchronicity. The ship itself seemed to respond not just to controls, but to their collective intent. They were becoming something new, something forged in the crucible of shared purpose and imaginative defiance. "Sir," Lieutenant Commander Tanaka called from engineering. "Resonance engines are reaching peak potential. The fleet reports similar metrics." "We are operating on dream logic now." Commander Rao's voice was sharp. Order fleet signatures detected, massing at the purity nexus in System Zygon. All intelligence points to a chaos eradication pulse targeting Earth within 72 hours. Admiral Rostova looked at the display. A vast, terrifying geometric formation of Order vessels surrounding a pulsing, sterile construct. They were coming for Earth. They were coming to extinguish the dream. "Let them come," Admiral Rostova said, her voice resonating with a calm power that was anything but logical. They wanted to see what happens when you try to silence humanity. They are about to witness the power of a dream unleashed. The crew of the USS Vision moved with the silent efficiency of a single organism. They were ready, not just for war, but for a confrontation that transcended physics. A battle fought in the spaces between reality and possibility. The echo of dreams was stirring, and the galaxy was about to hear its song. The attack on the Kepler orbital habitat was swift and brutal. Curator Jenna Lee was cataloging digital archives of human music, symphonies, jazz, rock, folk, when the sterile white ships materialized outside the viewports. The alarm blared, a jarring intrusion on the melody playing softly in her ears. Through the reinforced windows of the archive dome, she saw geometrically perfect Order shuttles descending. Their purpose was chillingly clear: erase the repositories of human expression, purify the centers of creativity and historical chaos. Jenna managed to activate the emergency beacon, sending a data burst containing everything: the blueprints of the archive, the recordings of the attack, and the truth about the Order's objective: the systematic eradication of human creative potential. The Order troops, their forms shifting with calculated precision, moved through the habitat, dismantling art installations, deleting historical records, silencing the laughter of children in the recreational domes. Their commander broadcast their actions across local subspace, a cold, synthesized message. Chaos is a sickness. Creativity is a deviation. The source of the human infection will be sterilized. The message reached the USS Vision just as Admiral Rostova's fleet was completing its final preparations. The bridge went silent as the crew watched the filtered footage. The sterile forms moving through halls of vibrant human art, the purposeful destruction of beauty, the silencing of innocent voices. Something shifted in the air, a palpable resonance filling the bridge. Admiral Rostova felt it in her core, a cold, precise rage unlike any she had ever known, interwoven with a fierce protective warmth. Her crew felt it too. The emergent state wasn't just about technology. It was a fundamental shift in being. They were becoming conductors of the echo of dreams. President Khatri's voice, amplified and woven into a frequency that bypassed order jamming, resonated across the quadrant, reaching every human outpost, every colony, every ship. They attacked our history. They attacked our art. They attacked the places where our children learn to dream. They attacked our spirit. This is not just an act of war. This is an act of attempted annihilation against the very essence of humanity. Billions on Earth and throughout human space stopped. The shared experience, the violation of their collective soul, resonated deep within them. They felt the rage, the sorrow, and the burning, unwavering need to protect the spaces where dreams were born. Admiral Rostova stood up from her command chair, her movements fluid, imbued with an impossible grace. Around her, the crew moved as if guided by a single will, their actions perfectly synchronized, their purpose absolute. "All ships," she said, her voice calm, yet carrying the weight of the awakened billions. "Identify all order units involved in the Kepler habitat attack. Priority 1, retribution. Priority 2, ensure the order understands the cost of touching humanity's dreams." The first engagement occurred near the Cygnus Nebulae, where a detachment of order ships was processing purified alien artifacts. The order commander detected the human fleet, a mere dozen ships against their 80, and broadcast a standard challenge. "Identify yourselves, irregular vessels. You are operating in a quarantine sector. Cease your chaotic vector immediately." Admiral Rostova's voice, layered with impossible harmonies that grated against the Order's logical processing cores, filled the alien bridge. "We are the echo of dreams. You attacked our children. You burned our libraries. You will now learn why some things should never be touched." The Order commander, his form vibrating with what passed for annoyance, responded. "Your vessels are not registered. Your energy signatures are illogical. You are statistical anomalies. We will proceed with sterilization." The battle lasted less than 11 minutes. The Dreamweavers didn't engage in linear combat. They phase-shifted, appealing and disappearing in patterns that defied predictable trajectories. Their weapons, logic nullifiers and narrative disruptors, didn't just fire energy beams. They projected fields of paradoxical concepts and conflicting causality. Order shields, designed to absorb predictable energy, flickered and collapsed. Order ships, their systems overwhelmed by contradictory data, suffered cascading logical failures, their forms dissolving into chaotic non-geometric light. Not a single human ship was damaged. But they didn't leave. Instead, they began a systematic hunt. They tracked down every Order vessel that had participated in the Kepler attack, following illogical energy trails and narrative residues left behind in the data stream. They moved with the relentless, silent efficiency of a force of nature, a force guided not by strategy charts, but by the deep, primal need for balance. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The species the Order had dismissed as primitive, as chaotic, was dismantling their forces with bewildering ease. This wasn't war as the galaxy knew it. This was the unfolding of a terrible, beautiful pattern, a manifestation of cosmic correction. Admiral Rostova's transmissions back to Earth were brief, devoid of excess. The silence is being avenged. The dream is protected. The ancient entity who had spoken to Lyra Vane observed the events from a place beyond conventional spacetime. Its awareness rippled through the galaxy, sensing the shift in reality. The echo awakened. The legends of the seed of possibility, the inherent human capacity to manifest the impossible when their potential was threatened, were not mere stories. The humans weren't fighting, they were manifesting. They were rewriting reality locally, imposing the logic of dreams onto the rigid structure of the Order's universe. Every ship, every crew member, every weapon was a collective intent, this unified dream of protection and retribution. News of the destruction of Order fleets reached the Purity Nexus. The three prime processors, Kalen 7, Grol 3, and a larger, more stable octahedron known as Unity 1, convened in the central confluence chamber. Their forms flickered with calculated distress. Analysis. The human vessels are exhibiting illogical vectoring. Probability of successful engagement with standard tactics is approaching zero. Their weapon effects violate known physical laws. Data streams are corrupted by non-sequential information. Their targets are not strategic nodes, but specific units involved in the Kepler incident. Analysis. This behavior is not logical. It is retaliatory. Proctor Unity 1 pulsed, its form briefly rippling with an uncharacteristic fluctuation. How can a species so primitive achieve this level of tactical and technological superiority so rapidly? But the evidence was undeniable. The human fleet wasn't just defeating their ships. They were hunting the culprits, following them across star systems with unnatural speed and precision. "We must initiate a logical reevaluation," Proctor Grol 3 stated. "Offer them a calculated concession, perhaps a limited integration under strict logical parameters." "Negative," Proctor Kalen 7 responded. "Their behavior is unpredictable. Concession will be perceived as weakness, encouraging further deviation. We must apply overwhelming absolute logic. Initiate phase Omega. Prepare the chaos eradication pulse. Target Sol system. All chaotic elements will be nullified." Privately, the prime processors were experiencing something akin to error states. The human actions defied all logical predictions, all calculated responses. They were facing an enemy that did not adhere to the rules of reality as they understood them. The ancient entity transmitted a whisper across the network, a subtle dissonance woven into the logical flow. You seek to extinguish fire by categorizing flames. You attempt to cage the storm by mapping its path. You have mistaken the garden for weeds. You have awakened the seeds. The Order ignored the whisper, filtering it as random noise. Admiral Rostova received the final report. The Order's main fleet is gathered at the Purity Nexus. All 3,000 primary vessels, plus support craft. They are initiating phase Omega. The Chaos Eradication Pulse is charging. It targets Earth. Commander Rao's voice was grim. "Our fleet, 50 Dreamweaver vessels. Numerical disparity, 60-1. Any logical simulation predicts total failure." Admiral Rostova looked at the holographic representation of the vast ordered enemy formation. A cold, clear determination settled over her. Logic is their cage, imagination is our key. She wasn't thinking like a commander facing impossible odds. She was thinking like a storyteller completing a narrative, like an artist envisioning a finished masterpiece. They thought numbers mattered. They did not understand that each of her ships was a brushstroke, painting a new reality with the vibrant colors of human will. The human fleet turned towards the Purity Nexus, not like a military force advancing, but like a constellation shifting. Each vessel a point of light, connected by an invisible web of shared purpose. The Order fleet awaited them, a terrifyingly perfect geometric formation, their energy signatures a symphony of spiral power. Proctor Unity 1 commanded the defense from the heart of the Nexus. Today, logic will prevail. The chaotic anomaly will be purged. Reality will be pure. As the human ships approached, Order sensors registered anomalies. Energy readings that fluctuated wildly, defying classification. Forms that seemed to ripple and shimmer at the edges of perception. Irregularities detected, a prime processor reported. Energy levels? Impossible. They exceed theoretical maximums for vessels of that size. It matters not. Proctor Unity 1 stated. Apply absolute logic protocol. Fire the purity cascades. Eradicate deviation. 3,000 Order vessels unleashed torrents of pure, structuring energy, designed to break down anything chaotic into fundamental ordered components. Swarms of geometric fighters, moving in perfect synchronicity, surged forward. The Order expected the human fleet to be instantly dissolved. Instead, they watched in stunned silence, as if the human ships didn't dodge the fire. They flowed through it. The purity cascades, designed to impose logic, were incompatible with the dream logic fields surrounding the human vessels. The energy passed through them like light through a prism, refracted into harmless, chaotic patterns. Admiral Rostova's voice, calm and resonant, bypassed Order communication encryption, reaching every vessel. You attempted to silence our songs. You tried to steal our stories. You thought our dreams were weaknesses. They are our shield and our sword. The USS Vision plunged into the heart of the Order formation, her crew a chorus of shared intent. They were not just sailing, they were willing their way through reality, bending causality with the sheer force of collective imagination. Fear was a concept that had been left far behind. They were the manifestation of humanity's protected fury, the embodiment of its unfettered potential. The battle that followed defied description. It wasn't a clash of force against force, but of logic against imagination. The human logic nullifiers didn't just damage ships. They introduced existential paradoxes into the Order's core programming, causing ships to cease existing in cascades of logical error. Narrative disruptors warped the very flow of events around Order vessels, causing weapon systems to target their own allies, shields to flicker inexplicably, and communications to transmit only nursery rhymes or lines of abstract poetry. Dr. Sharma's theories bore terrifying fruit. The emergent state allowed human technology to interface with the Order's own systems, not through hacking, but through a form of conceptual infection. The Purity Nexus, designed to impose ultimate order, began to exhibit symptoms of terminal confusion. Its sub-processors, confronted with the raw, unyielding power of illogical concepts, began to deviate. The Nexus is generating random variables. A prime processor shrieked, its form fluctuating wildly. It is attempting to process metaphors. The chaos eradication pulse, meant to erase Earth, began to destabilize. Designed to target illogical concentrations of energy, it registered the Order's own tightly structured, predictable formation as the ultimate logical entity, the antithesis of chaos. And it began to target itself. President Khatri's voice, now a triumphant, impossible chorus woven into the very fabric of subspace, echoed through the battlefield. We told you we would protect our children. We told you our dreams had power. You should have listened to the whispers. The Order formation crumbled. Ships imploded as their own systems dissolved into paradox. The chaos eradication pulse, overwhelmed by the illogical input from the human dream field and infected by conceptual viruses, discharged prematurely, but not at Earth. It vaporized the Purity Nexus and the remaining core Order fleet in a flash of self-inflicted absolute logic. When the light faded, the vast geometric force was gone, erased by its own inability to comprehend the power of unquantifiable chaos. The cost was high. The human fleet, though victorious, was battered, their resonance engines strained, their hulls shimmering and unstable from operating beyond conventional reality. Many ships were lost, dissolved back into the potentiality they had briefly harnessed. Many brave souls had become one with the echo they commanded. Admiral Rostova stood on the bridge of the USS Vision, now just a flickering outline against the debris field. Her crew, exhausted but alive, monitored the aftermath. "Status report," she ordered, her voice raspy. "The Order core fleet is dawn," Commander Rao reported, her voice filled with awe. "The Nexus is neutralized. The pulse failed." Lieutenant Commander Tanaka added, "The echo is receding. The engines are stabilizing, closer to baseline reality." Admiral Rostova nodded, a weary smile on her face. The mission was complete. But more importantly, humanity has proved something fundamental to the galaxy. No force, no matter how logical, how powerful, could extinguish a species fueled by the boundless energy of dreams. The ancient entity, the Observer, recorded the events. They came with logic, seeking to purify. They were met with the unpredictable, the potential, the power of what could be. The echo of dreams resonated, and reality shifted. The galaxy has witnessed the strength born not of structure, but of possibility. The story ended with scenes on Earth. Children painting vibrant, chaotic pictures in parks. musicians composing melodies that defied conventional scales, scientists discussing theories that blended physics with philosophy. Their parents and elders watched the quiet knowledge of their potential, a silent shield around them. The echo had retreated, the intense manifestation faded, but its potential lingered, a dormant power within every human heart. Around the galaxy, species that had suffered under the Order's rigid conformity began to rediscover their unique expressions. Inspired by the illogical victory of the humans, they found strength in their own deviations, their own art, their own emotions. New alliances formed, not based on unified logic, but on the celebration of diversity, on shared vulnerability, and mutual illogical kindness. The children of Earth continued to explore the stars, carrying within them the quiet knowledge that their imagination was not just a source of wonder, but a force of nature, a protector forged in the fire of defiance. And in the deepest, most creative corners of human space, the Dreamweavers rested, their forms fluid, their engines silent, waiting. They were the children of a world that taught them to believe in the impossible. They had learned to survive by becoming the unpredictable. The galaxy was safe, for now, and the children could dream in peace, their dreams guarded by the echo. The universe would never again underestimate the power of human imagination.